Hey there, this is Ed Beard again with the Employer's Edge. And one of the exercises that we use consistently in our coaching and training to help leaders understand how to get people to delegate and how to get people to really focus on what it is that matters to the organization. Perhaps you have someone on your team that is continually missing deadlines. You might describe them as someone who just waits till the very last minute and then they go ahead and put it all together. Because typically we find that that person who won't delegate is distracted somewhere in there. So what I'm going to consider asking you to do is to help them through what we call the High Payoff Activities Exercise. Now the High Payoff Activities Exercise, as defined, is activities that make the organization more money than what the organization pays an individual. Now you might already be saying, well, we already manage to goals. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about, because there's a lot of activities go into goals and there's a lot of room for people to get sidetracked in pursuit of a goal. Or it's not a responsibility. You might be responsible for a presentation. That doesn't mean you are in the activity of putting together the slide deck and all the samples, however you go about it. All right, so what I'd like you to consider is the high payoff activities is to get them defined for people, their top 4, 5, maybe 6 high payoff activities, so they have permission to delegate their low payoff activities. So when people come into their office and they ask them to do something, and this person to do something, if it's not on their high payoff activities list, then it must not be a high payoff activity. Do I really have to listen to you now? And do you really need to distract me with your needs now? And it really keeps people focused. Let me tell you what I mean. For example, let's just say you have a direct report who needs to delegate to one of their direct reports, right? If you have them define their high payoff activity right here and their low payoff activity right here, what they're going to do is delegate that down to the next person, because your leader is going to stay focused on their high payoff activities, the things that make the organization more money, what the organization pays them. And yes, this is also true for non-income producing people in a for-profit company, because seriously, in a for-profit company, everybody is supposed to have a for-profit mind. We are here to make money, and there's nothing wrong with that. That includes human resources. That includes IT. That includes a lot of the legal department. They may not directly have their hand on a dollar. However, they are still responsible for making the organization profitable. That means they have to stay focused on their high payoff activities. Here's what's interesting. Because these high payoff activities are really this leader's low payoff activities. So this person below can't define their high payoff activities until this person defines their high payoff activities, and they're going to delegate those lower payoff activities as someone else's high payoff. But here's the thing, they can't do that unless the boss up here also defines their high payoff activities and their low payoff activities, because they're going to delegate that down to here. And this is how you get total alignment of focus all the way down the organization. It'll even prevent you as a boss from going into your own direct reports and distracting them, because you have clearly defined their high payoff activities. It makes things very fair on the annual review, if you still do those, because why would you really compliment someone or hammer someone on annual review on not being focused on the job if you've told them what that focus is? And here's what's really interesting. This is the most interesting thing, and we get this a lot, is if you put together your high payoff activities and you put together their high payoff activities right here, your direct report's going to disagree with you on one of the 5. And you got to wonder to yourself, how is it that we are not in alignment on what you're supposed to be doing, even though we talk about it all the time? Well, that happens all the time. That's just how it is, which is why you go through the high payoff activities, which means they can't do it unless you do it. It means you can't do it unless your boss does it. And that is how you get total alignment and total focus on what people need, how people need to spend their time. And I think that will help in the delegation down to the lowest possible level, which increases profit to the highest possible level. I hope that helped.